Hey everyone, this is Kevin, the Apptrepreneur. I'm still in bed, still recovering, although I think I'm starting to get some mobility back. In fact, some regularly scripted videos will be returning very soon. I have taken some of the devices that the dentist gave me for quick healing out of my mouth for this video because, well, I don't want my words to be misunderstood, misheard. I don't want to slur any of this as best as I can. I still have that stuttering problem, but whatever. I don't want my speech to be a dental equipment. So if my teeth look funny, I'm sorry. That's what it is. Again, just taking it out. So I woke up to some very interesting news this morning, which was very conflicting for me. Now, I'm not going to say who specific, very specific who sent me this information, because frankly, it was 7 people. 7 people sent me this information, and it involved a fellow member of the UberTuber community deactivated by Uber. Now, people get deactivated from Uber all the time. Heck, there are other UberTubers who were deactivated long before this person got deactivated. This is nothing new. It's just something Uber does, especially when it comes to either an illegitimate claim or a false report. It doesn't really matter. You're going to get deactivated at some point. I actually said like a long time ago, everyone who does this, they will either quit of their own accord, which has been most people, or they will be deactivated by Uber or Lyft. But which has happened to a couple people. Now, what was curious about this for me, and why this will probably be like a big hit of a video, to be perfectly honest, is that I've definitely got a history with this person, which is using this person's name. I mean, it's not hard to find out though. But I definitely have history with this person. And I think the reason the people were emailing me and texting me was because they thought I would get a kick out of this. And transparency, there was like just the briefest of moments where I was kind of where I don't know. I mean, because this person has not treated me well. Again, we won't say who it is. Most of you know who's talking about. This person has not treated me well. Heck, from what someone was telling me this morning, they were even on a live stream like a couple days ago, still taking pot shots at me, saying that, yeah, I guess they gave up. They gave up. They're not taking swings anymore. The channel's dying, which it's like, well, I guess you're true. I'm not taking pot shots anymore because I stopped caring again. But all reports of the channel dying have been greatly exaggerated. I can assure you that. That was as recently as yesterday. So this person has no love for me. I don't have a lot of love for them, to be perfectly frank. And yeah, I read this report. Well, I read this report. I watched this video, and I watched it with mixed emotions because this person is. I'm going to be frank. He's not a good person, in my opinion. He's not a good person, in my opinion. And yet, I've kind of sat in that chair before. Maybe not with Uber or Lyft. Uber and Lyft have never deactivated me, by the way. Never even sent me a warning. Just saying. But I have been in that situation. I've shared my story about my time with Fry's Electronics. How they pulled me in a room one day and said, hey, we're putting you on a 5-day suspension, which basically means you're being terminated. And I asked why. And they said you were on the camera. Of course, I ask, well, I'd like to see that video. And they say, you don't need to see that video. You just have to sign this and get out. So I knew he was being fired. And I've also shared that I took him to court. And I won. And I won enough money to reinvest it in some good 401k, some good stocks, and pay off my car. But I won, technically, that lawsuit against Fry's, the feeling of getting fired so unjustly never quite goes away. I still once in a while think of that situation and it makes my skin curl. Getting fired like that is one of the worst feelings in the world. And frankly, I never wanted this guy to get deactivated from Uber. Strange as that might sound. I wanted him to get banned from YouTube. I think he was clearly breaking YouTube policy on a pretty much daily basis and should have gotten some community guideline strikes. That I would have been okay with. But him driving for Uber, he enjoyed driving for Uber. He was clearly good at driving for Uber. And I don't like to see people's livelihoods just taken away just because I don't like them personally. So even, I didn't comment on his video because the tension's just too great right now. But for those of you who watch this, and if he's watching this, my personal comment is just a simple, I'm sorry that that happened. It's I know how much this meant to you, and I'm sorry, and I mean it. That said, there's still a story here to talk about, so to speak, because not only is this valuable information for drivers, because it's in our community, even more so. Now, I'm going to be dropping enough hints on who this person is, so you can probably figure it out. But this person was self-proclaimed the king of the 2K club. Self-proclaimed that. Also, at one point, he was also the beardedest Uber tuber on the rideshare, which I don't know. Maybe am I going to challenge that? I don't know. Maybe I will. I just don't know. And his whole spiel, well, it's not a spiel. This is what his hook was. His hook in this community was, I drive exclusively for rideshare, and I make $2,000 a week. So I am the captain of the 2K club. I believe it was captain. It should be noted, a few years ago, before Uber started cutting all the cuts on everything, he was the captain of the 3K club. It's the most popular video. He's showing a cell phone, and he has made $3,000. I don't think that's possible anymore, which, I'm just bringing up because, it kind of shows how far Uber has fallen. And his content, his content varied a little bit. Like, he was usually driving, usually giving driving advice, usually showing off his earnings, and then the rest of the time, to be perfectly blunt, he was fighting with people like me and Simple Driver and Uberman and calling Dustin a meth head. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of him, but so that's what his channel was. Now, again, he's good at what he does. I have always maintained you cannot take this away from him. He turned Uber into a full-time job, and he was way more successful than anyone else. You cannot take that away. So I personally think that what you have to put into Uber to get those results are not worth it. It's not worth it. But to him, it was. To him, it was. So, that's... And I'm not in a position to say whether he should or shouldn't feel that way. Neither are you, for that matter. But by all accounts, he was good at what he does. And before he was deactivated, he had, if I recall, a 4.95 star grade. And that's, look, for someone who has I don't know how many thousands upon thousands of rides he has, that's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty hard to drive that long and that many rides. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you drive that many rides, I mean, one of the things that like to point out is like when you drive that many rides, you know, the rating's always refreshing. So who knows how many complaints he really had? Like if you're doing 30 a day, then yeah. But still consistent, 4.95. That's that's good. That's good. Well, he got email. He got a couple emails actually, a couple complaints from what I understand. That well, the message from Uber actually reads, "We tried calling you today to discuss some feedback received about a recent trip." Now he admitted this. He was like, he was sorry, my ear is itching. He was at dinner with his girlfriend, which you know, heck, I'll give him props for that. Doing this for 60 hours a week, and he still has time to have a relationship. You man, that's called making it work. But you know, they tried to call him. He was at dinner with his girlfriend because they wanted to discuss because they received some feedback on a recent trip. A writer on one of your recent trips reported that they felt uncomfortable with some of the comments you made. We hold both riders and partners to the standards outlined in our community guidelines and expect all users to act appropriately. The following behaviors can make somebody uncomfortable and are not acceptable while using the Uber app. And they started, you know, with all this stuff. So, any, so yeah, there, and you know, like you know, staring. They listed all these things. At least you can't be deactivated for having your AC on. Too cold, right? Sorry, I couldn't resist. um, so he got a couple of these messages. Now, from my personal experience with the man, him saying something inappropriate sounds plausible. It totally sounds plausible. It's unlikely. In fact, I am going to lean strongly, I might add, very strongly, that this is more than likely a couple people who just wanted a discounted ride. They just wanted a discounted ride, and they sent complaints, and there you go. There you go. He's deactivated, just like that. And by the way, just to put the cherry on top, they thanked him for being a platinum diamond driver or something like that. I mean, that was one of those situations that I admit I had to laugh at because it's like, oh yeah, yeah, Uber's a bunch of jerks. Now, I assume he has dash cam footage. So, and he is going to talk to a lawyer about this. Apparently, he's already got a lawyer. Good for him. I will express some pessimism that that's going to work because here's the thing. You are an independent contractor. And, well, the thing about being independent contractors, they really don't need a reason to fire you. I mean, in most states, they don't need a reason to fire you, even if you're an employee, not if you're a regular worker. But the thing is, you can't, like I did with Fry's, you can take them to court and you could force them to pay your unemployment and stuff. You know, you can't even do that with Uber. Now, granted, I actually support him doing this. Believe it or not, I support him taking Uber to task for this. Because if anyone's earned the right to fight Uber on this one, it's him. Again, the guy spent a lot of his life, and he, how should I put this? Yeah, he was good at what he did, and it's his livelihood. For most people, if you get deactivated, probably not worth hiring a lawyer and fighting in court. But when you're making $2,000 a week and that just poof goes away one day, yeah, probably worth fighting. So I might actually start watching his videos again because I haven't been watching them really for a while. Because again, there's that history. But this might be like an interesting thing to report on, you know, to see what happens when an Uber driver who makes $2,000 or more a week and drives on average 60 hours a week, sometimes 70, sometimes 55, but it varies. What happens? So in all sincerity, I hope I hope he gets his livelihood back. I really do. Um, because I don't like to see people losing their livelihood over false accusations. Again, I would have people again, people were sending me texts, but oh, now I guess 9 people have sent me texts about this. Again, me and him have a big history. Thinking that I'd be a lot happier about this, I'm not. Like I said, I would have been much happier personally if he had YouTube community guideline strikes. That's where I think he was abusing things. By all accounts, he was a good driver. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting to watch. And this goes to show it truly does not matter how much you drive for Uber, how much you make for you would because here's the thing, you would think, and it's gonna sound like I'm taking some pot shots at him right now, but I'm not. Keep in mind, bear with me. This is a guy who has praised Uber from hell to high water. He has rarely criticized them. He has actually criticized people like me for poo-pooing Uber. He feels that if you are not driving, you're not relevant. This is a guy who takes this very seriously. You would think Uber would want to keep someone like this around because this guy has put his blood, sweat, and tears into the company. Frankly, I'm a little surprised they didn't hire him on to kind of be like an official product tester of some sort. Like, hey, keep doing what you're doing, but we'll send you a paycheck on the side and you can tell us if what we're doing is actually helping. I think that would have been a win for everybody. And yeah, all the money that he's brought, because keep in mind, whatever he made, Uber's taken roughly half of. So this guy's making Uber a couple $1,000s a week. They don't care. Get a couple, what is likely, not again, the complaints he received sound plausible, but they are likely false accusations and he can be deactivated. Anyone can be deactivated. And it's a very bad feeling. It's just a bad feeling to be deactivated for anything. Like, and as someone who, by the way, lost Amazon seller accounts because of false A to Z claims, this is just like the worst thing that could happen to anyone who. And at the time, I really depended on Amazon as my income. So So what comes next? Well, again, he is talking to a lawyer. I mean, I encourage him to do that. I sincerely wish him the best of luck. Be perfectly frank and honest, don't think it's going to work. You are an independent contractor. You wanted to be an independent contractor. This is one of the things that comes with being an independent contractor. I'm sorry to say. Just that's the way it is. Otherwise, I've got a little advice for him. He will take it or not. That's up to him. I mean, I know he doesn't respect me, so there you go. But first of all, obvious. Well, I read a comment and I was going to comment. I'm not going to do that. First of all, the positive, you still have Lyft, so you can still do Lyft. I mean, I know it's not as lucrative as Uber, but you can make something out of that. I have noticed that you are live streaming a lot of your Lyft rides, and you have been in discussions with Lyft, and Lyft has been telling you, what protocol and what circumstances you can live stream on. My first bit of advice on that is to stop live streaming immediately. That is the easiest way to get deactivated, and right now, you do not want to get deactivated from Lyft. You absolutely do not. It's too volatile. If somebody sees one of those live streams and complains Lyft about it and you lost that, then you are really, as my dad would say, up the river without a paddle. There are other apps out there like Postmates and DoorDash. Maybe you can try to game those systems, figure out a system and make money doing that as well. I mean, they certainly use less wear and tear on your car and less gas, so, uh, that's really, and keep your head up high. Unfortunately, I mean, that this is just now we're getting back to everyone in general. It doesn't matter if you're making $2,000 a week on Lyft. You can't collect unemployment from this. You can't because you're not an employee. So yeah, he's in a tough position, and I don't take pleasure in that at all. I really don't. One's livelihood is a very personal thing. It and you just don't want to mess. It's just always sad to see it happening. I mean, heck, they made a whole movie about it, Up in the Air. If you haven't seen it, that's a good movie. George Clooney plays a guy who goes around firing people, and apparently they got like real people who had been fired. And thank you for the super chat, James. James, I appreciate that. They actually hired real people to share their stories of being fired, and it's just super, super heartbreaking. So look, here's the thing. Here's how I'm going to wrap this one up. I again, I've definitely got issues with this person. I mean, the opportunity to talk has been open since day one. If he wanted to call me and we can patch things up, then you know what, we can move on. We can move on. I've never particularly wanted a feud, so you know, but for whatever it's worth, keep your chin up. Um, continue doing what you're doing to the best that you can. I don't think the lawyer thing's going to work, but hey, by golly, go for it. I mean, you have nothing to look at. And one more little bit of advice. This is for everyone in general, especially when situations like this come up. Um, it's tough. This is why you always need to be thinking about the future. I get comments all the time, like, Kevin, why did you stop driving for Uber and Lyft? Well, because I was paying attention to where things were going, and the future wasn't looking good for me on that. Like, I figured you couldn't make money on it. And then people send me emails like, Kevin, why are you making videos that aren't rideshare related? What's with the streaming wars? What's with these, AMC on demand? What's with the movie pass videos? These aren't rideshare related. Looking towards the future. You always have to be expanding your horizons. This might be a good time to look at the future and kind of decide what's next and what's the long. What do I want to do? I'm going to reiterate, I don't think there's a future with Uber. You can do it as long as you want, but even if you have, 4.95 rating, it's got to be at least more than 5,000 a ride. You can do all that perfectly right. You can be deactivated. Your livelihood's gone in a moment. Nope. You don't want to put yourself in that position. Get out of it, or at the very least, look for the backup plan. Look for the backup plan. Look for the future. And never stop growing. Never stop challenging yourself. Never stop, attempting the impossible. If doing something seems scary, that's probably a good indication you should be doing that. Because unless you take risks, you'll never grow. So that's where I'm gonna leave it. Some of the comments I've been reading. I see the comments going pretty furiously. It's gonna be interesting to read the comments for this one. So I don't know. Maybe I hope some of you are probably disappointed in this response, but yeah. So stay safe out there. Be careful. Have a dash cam. I think I read a fleeting comment that he had that the dash cam got deleted somehow. If it is, that's unfortunate. But well, there you go. Everyone take care of yourselves. I actually have to lay down again because I'm starting to to feel light in the head. Dental dental work's not fun. So let's see here. Yeah. So now the usual drill: comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and be kind to one another. Have a good one.